What's up everybody, Nick back here with you from Project Central, and today we're starting a pretty epic build. We're out here at my dad's place grabbing the car hauler so that we can build my ultimate car hauling trailer, car hauler trailer, ultimate utility trailer, ultimate homestead working trailer, whatever you want to call it. We'll figure out a name at some point. But in this video we're gonna take the old junky trailer and I'm gonna put everything I wanted on it. What you heard was a lot of stuff on it, but what I said was I'm gonna put everything I want on it. So let's get hooked up to it. And there's some pretty crazy weather going on right now. We've had some pretty crazy winds today here in central Oklahoma, but we'll do an overview real quick. So let's get hooked up and then I'll show you what we're working with. Notice how janky the trailer plug is. We're gonna fix that. All right, we got hooked up right quick. Show you what we're working with. So basically what I've got here is a 18-foot car hauler. So it's got a 16-foot deck and a 2-foot dovetail. What I really like about this trailer is a couple things. One, it's got 5,000 pound axles. So notice 6 lug wheels, and look at the channel. This is built out of 7-inch channel, so it's quite a bit heavier than most trailers like this. Here's a good shot up here at the front. Here's a good shot up here at the front of the channel. I got a winch that I put on it. It already had this tongue box on it with a bunch of straps and crap in there. We're gonna kick this I-beam off right quick, and then we're gonna get some lumber. So let's go. Super dusty, super nasty out here. We've had a pretty crazy windstorm today. Gusts up about 80 miles an hour in some parts of the metro. And there's a bunch of fires going on and dust advisory. So that's why it looks like this, because it was absolutely getting it today as far as the wind goes. See all this pipe? All right, remember the pipe till the end of the video. We'll come back to it, promise. All right, we got everything out of the Connex that we needed. I'm gonna go say hey to my dad and stepmom right quick, and then hardware store run. All right, just getting pulled in here to Lowe's, and I gotta say, one thing that I am really thankful for, especially when you drive a crew cab long bed truck with a 18-foot trailer, I am super grateful for the what do they call it? The trailer parking spots. Lowe's has these and they are very nice. We're gonna get parked in our special, super special trailer parking spot, and yeah, we're gonna go in and grab some lumber. But first, let me show you what we need to grab right quick. Maybe a little bit hard to see here, maybe harder to hear me with all this wind, but what we have here is 10 2x8s and one 2x6 here in the middle. So let's go into the store and grab that right quick. Let's go. Found me a lumber cart. Whee! This one's crazy because it just spins. It's like one of the IKEA carts. I'm not used to that. But I think what we're looking for, it's close. I can smell it. Need 10 of these. 2x6, 2x8x16 Doug firs. Let's get them knocked out. All right, that's all 10. Let's see what else we can find. Sale. I should probably grab one. I mean, it'd be a shame not to, right? Well, there's a bunch of people parked in the loading zone, right? It's a loading zone for people with trailers. So I'm gonna go pull around, get my stuff loaded up. Hopefully the cart doesn't fly away in all this wind, but it should not too big of a deal. It's pretty typical these days, people parking in the loading zone. Frustrating, but what you gonna do? Okay, got everything loaded up. Hopefully nothing falls off, because we did say that's not going anywhere, so we're good to go. All right, so let's talk about the trailer a little bit. I bought this 10 years ago, basically sight unseen. I think I paid $1,800 for it, but don't quote me. I tried to go find the marketplace listing the other day when I was doing research for this video and couldn't find it. Anyways, crazy story, because I had actually made a deal with a buddy to go get a parts Jeep that I needed the motor out of, but I didn't have a trailer at the time. So I found this one on Craigslist. Maybe it was Craigslist. Maybe that's why I couldn't find the marketplace listing. And anyways, I drove about an hour and a half to get it, because my buddy who was selling me the Jeep lived about 2.5 hours away. So I had made a deal with a friend to buy a Jeep, but I didn't have a trailer, so I drove out to get the trailer from this guy and ended up buying it sight unseen. And then I went and picked up the Jeep. I think I've got pictures of that. So anyways, I guess I can look at the date on those pictures to get the year when I bought this. So anyways, that was pretty crazy. My wife thought I was insane for driving, you know, doing that, which she was probably correct. In hindsight, it wasn't the best plan, but it all worked out. Got the motor put in the other Jeep, got the rest of the Jeep scrapped, and I got a trailer out of the deal. So it was win-win. And I just want to say, it is unbelievably handy to have a nice trailer. Any trailer, right? I've helped friends move vehicles. I've went to grab my own project cars. I've got given material, and that is the number one reason right now why I'm fixing this up. We just bought a couple acres of land in I don't know, about 20-30 minutes north of our current house, and we've got a ton of materials we need to collect, and we're going to be doing a bunch of work out there over the next couple years. So I thought, why not build my dream utility trailer, homestead trailer? I don't know, I still don't know what I'm going to call this thing. But anyways, I have not done anything to this trailer since we bought it. Literally, well, I guess that's not technically true. I added the winch about 6 months after I bought it. No, I added the winch the weekend I got back, because I needed to help another friend winch a vehicle on, winch another Jeep on. So I think that's when I did that. But I bought the winch from a good friend of mine, Travis, that he actually won it in a raffle. We were at an event, and he won a brand new winch, but he had a this is probably 2015, I don't know, he probably had a 1-year-old Rubicon that already had a winch on it, so it just kind of sat in the barn for a little while. And then I called him up and I was like, hey bro, remember that winch that's brand new in the box that I know you got for free? Make me a deal. So he did, and that was nice of him. All right, so I guess I should tell you guys about the sequence on how we're gonna fix all this. This first chapter is gonna be basically maintenance, redecking it, rewiring it, and a bunch of other general maintenance stuff. We're gonna check all the tires, you know, we're gonna go through, we're gonna do some stuff like that, just to make sure that the trailer is safe and safe to pull. It's got a new deck on it. Second chapter, what we're going to do is all the, I'm going to say level 1 upgrades. We're going to do some E-Track. We're going to do some drive over fenders, do maybe like a spare tire carrier, kind of the next level of, okay, maybe you just bought a new trailer and you're looking for some stuff that you want to do to your trailer video. And then the third chapter is going to be making this my dream trailer. There's some things I really want, and I'm going to do them. I got to fix my winch. We're going to be doing some pipe fencing here in the near future, so I got to make my trailer ready to, you know, be useful in that endeavor. And then the biggest one I'm going to do is I'm going to do a material lifting setup, right? Commonly referred to as a log arch. If you have seen any other videos, one of my favorites that I saw a long time ago, a guy named Matthew Cremoa, I think is how you say his last name, and he has a sawmilling and woodworking YouTube channel, but he's got this log lifting urban logging trailer that is pretty sick, and I'm going to make something like that. It's going to be removable from the trailer. So anyways, that's kind of the overall spiel of what it's going to look like. Hope you guys are excited as I am, because it's going to be epic, and we're going to take my trailer from busted old crappy utility trailer to really, really nice dream utility trailer. Let's go. All right, so it's a beautiful Saturday morning here. We got everything cleared out of the driveway. Look at that sunrise. Let's go. All right, let me get these boards unloaded right quick, and we'll do a trailer overview. So the first step we're going to take is we're going to remove all these old boards. There's a couple different ways to do it, and I'm going to show you 2 of those, and we're going to see which one is better. First one is you can just try and unscrew all the old screws. I'm pretty fortunate that a lot of these are hex screws, and I'm going to try and unscrew about half of them. The other way is a method I've seen where you cut about 2-foot lengths of board and you just snap the screws off. So we're going to try both of them. I'm going to try unscrewing first, because I think a lot of these boards are so rotten that they're not even going to be able to snap the screws off, and I'm going to have to come back afterwards. So let's get going. Let's get some tools out. Let me show you what we're using. All right, so first tool we're going to use is just my Milwaukee impact driver. We're going to use this to try and remove the screws. Maybe that's not the right size bit. We'll figure that out. Next pair of tools we're going to use, circular saw with just a framing blade on it. Well, I've got a new blade for this. We'll put the new blade on. And cordless sawzall. As you can see, all my tools are red, so is what it is. I like the Milwaukees. What you gonna do? We gotta use the sawzall because when you can't cut all the way to the metal with the circ saw, so we'll have a little bit we'll have to finish up. So let's see if we can't remove some of these screws. Alright, first board. This is one I had replaced, obviously. Well, it looks like there's not very many screws holding this deck on, which, cool, I guess. It's lasted this long, it's hard to argue with. Junk. Alright, first part, I guess if your trailer's only got about 7 screws holding the whole thing together, unscrew it. But you're probably gonna have to cut it in half, cut the boards in half anyway. So let's talk about that for a second. So if you look at my trailer, and I think most trailers are gonna be like this, you'll have screws on one of these cross members, and they'll usually skip one or 2 in my case, and then you'll have another set of screws. So what you want to do is you want to cut to where you have like at least enough leverage to pop these screws. So we're going to cut it right here. It's going to be about 5 foot 60 inches. So I'm going to come here and make me a mark on this side and on this side, and then we'll pop a string line. So I really like these Chalkrite boxes. These I've used these for a long time. They used to be super cheap. They're a little bit more expensive than a regular cheap chalk box, but they're way better. So if you're looking for a good chalk box, I'll have links to everything I use in this video down in the description. And I've had these boxes for like 10 years. So even if you think, oh, that's too expensive, how many cheap chalk boxes would you buy over the last decade? All right, back to trailer stuff. All right, one of the things you got to do before you start just cutting is you got to crawl under the trailer and look to see if you have any wires. Oh, and we do. So there's all of our wires for our lights and stuff. So we're gonna kind of pull those down a little bit. Pull those down a little bit so that we can get these cut out. I've never used one of these before. Obviously I've used saw blades before, but this Spider Tarantula, this was like one of the cheapest ones at Lowe's. So if we hit metal and ruin it, I'm not gonna be too sad. So let's get it put on the saw and then we'll get cutting. We're gonna set our depth of cut kind of shallow, just in case, you know, you never know. Let's get chopping. Easy money right there. There's not even. Well, I thought we were gonna need the Sawzall to cut these last little bits, but this stuff's so rotten. Don't even need that. So you see, cut this side, and there's screws here, if you can see that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a cut over here. On this side so that I can show you how to pop these screws. Doesn't have to be perfect. Right, so these are our 2 screws that we didn't cut. We didn't back out or anything. Pops right off. Super easy. no screws in this. It's insane. Man, those birds are loud. Well, as you can see, we got the trailer deck off. It was surprisingly easy. I was shocked at how few screws were actually holding those boards down. So that's probably not the best, but we're gonna fix it. A couple things we're gonna do right quick is we're gonna get all these boards chopped up and put in the dumpsters, because my big trash day, if you have a big trash day where you're at, you know how awesome it is. But my big trash day isn't for like 2 or 3 weeks, so I can't just let this, I don't want to just let this sit around. So we're gonna chop it all up into 3 or 4 foot sections and stuff it in the dumpsters, and then I'm gonna sweep, and I'm gonna bust the pressure washer out, and I'm gonna pressure wash this whole trailer. So you can see I haven't taken the wood off the dovetail yet, and that's because we got to cut these off first. I was thinking about doing this at another point, but I think I need to do it now. So we're gonna get the grinders out and get a grinder out and cut this off. This is not going back in. Obviously, it is absolutely destroyed. So let's get it chopped off real quick, and then we'll talk eventually about what's going on in the back of the trailer in a little while, but it's gonna be pretty cool. Let's get this off and cleaned up. Put this over here in the trash pile. I'm not sure I'm going to use these very much anymore. Oh, it's hooked me. Trash pile. So I got that metal piece holding these in. Not even screwed in. They were just set in there, loose. Set in there loose all these years. Those 2 pieces of angle, those are what captured the ends of the 2x, so that they don't pop up, right? I've got a different plan, right? Because remember, this isn't just fix what's wrong. This is make it the dream trailer. So we're gonna get these stacked up to put in the trash next week. Next step, pressure wash. But like with any project, you gotta go to the store and get some stuff. So I gotta get a hose repair kit because, well, my hose is messed up. And I bought the wrong one the other day. I bought a female one. I need a male one to go into the pressure washer. So, pack the garage up for just a second, run to the hardware store. And we got it fixed. Let's get it hooked up. Woo! You know, there's nothing better than introducing a ton of water in the middle of your project. That's really good. You should try it. No, should have thought that one through. I should have washed it. Should have taken it to a car wash or something and washed it there, not here. Whatever, it's fine. It's lunchtime. I'm gonna let this dry. I might hit it with a leaf blower or something to help it out, but anyways. Next step, spray bomb. Underside of the trailer is just getting cheap $2 can spray paint. It'll be fine. It'll be fine, probably. Got the trailer spray bombed. It's okay. It's not bad. I don't know how effective this is really going to be. You know, cheap spray paint. But I don't know. If you're watching this in like the year 2030, spam in the comments and ask me how this is holding up, because I'm curious. I did just use the really cheap stuff on the undercarriage, but I did get some of this 2X Rust-Oleum satin black, Canyon black. I like this a lot. This stuff works pretty good, and I'm going to use this on all the the visible parts. So like stuff like this will all get repainted. That's coming off, but like I'll repaint the fenders, and everything you see on the outside will get this, but that's for later. Next up, we are going to eat some lunch, and then we're going to work on some wiring, because like I showed you earlier, the plug is not in great shape, and I need to hook up the trailer brakes. So we'll work on wiring and hooking up trailer brakes. So lunchtime. All right, back with you after lunch break, and we're working on some trailer wiring. As you can see, my old trailer plug is an absolute disaster. So I ordered a new kit from Amazon. These kits are pretty slick. It comes with a pre-made plug on this end, and on this end it's just a junction box. Let me give you a little closer look. Junction box is pretty simple. Everything's color coded in here. Oops, we'll put that back in there. All we gotta do is cut the existing wire, feed it in here, hook the color coded connections up, and we're good to go. So let's go knock that out. They sent me some of these that have holes already in them, so I'll use one of those to make our penetration in here. All right, well, got to run to the parts store again. I had these little bitty number 6s that I got at Lowe's, and I had these number 8s here at the house, so I figured those would be the right size to go into that junction box. But no, I think I need the next size up from these. So next size up from these. At least the auto parts store will have these, and that's only a mile from the house. So be right back. Boom. Just like that. All right, now that we got the new plug put on, the next thing we're gonna put on the front of the trailer, new trailer jack. The jack that's on there, it works okay. It's not the best. As you can see, the handle is absolutely roasted. It is so bad. It's really hard to turn sometimes, and it's just not serviceable. So picked up a new 3,500 pound trailer jack from Harbor Freight, and let me go show you on the front where we're gonna put it. All right, let's get this thing unboxed right quick, but I think we're gonna pretty much put it back right in the same spot. This is just This just has a little bit of weld on the sides and the top. So we'll cut all that, and you know, shouldn't be too bad. All right, question. How do you think I should orient this handle? Should I orient it this way? Because if you're standing up, you can kind of crank on it this way. Or should it be oriented this way? Obviously, kind of in this same location. What would you do? Let me know down in the comments. Because I'm sort of torn. I think I know what I want to do, but let me get this jacked up and cut off first, and then we'll figure it out. So ended up deciding to put this back in the same spot. So the way this jack works is you weld this on, boop, like that. You buzz that on, and then there's a bracket on, the other half, the actual jack part, that we're gonna weld on over at the welding table inside, so we can put the MIG welder on it. We'll probably end up bringing the stick welder back out here and booger weld this on, so because we'll be able to reach inside quite a bit easier with the stick welder, I think. So anyways, I got this where I want it. All right, so whenever someone asks you, why do you have leads so long for your stick welder? Well, it's because I can get my leads all the way out to the street. So if there's something in the street I had to do that was like right here, or like at the front of my trailer right here. So we're going to use a stick welder, and we're going to get that burned right in place. Get a little tack on there. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let's hit it with the old 7018. Oh, I suck at this. All right, rate my welds. What do we think? Think it'll work? Should be fine. So I got it right on our mark, so let's burn this thing in. Are we serious? I got an inch of weld done. Now I got to replace the wire, but it's okay. I got a new box right here. Let's get this put in right quick. Golly, I should have checked first. All right, we are back in business. Let's get this all burnt in. Go! Okay. Welds are not the best, but I got it buzzed in all the way around right quick. Let it cool off, and then we'll throw some paint on it before we go install it. All right, so we're gonna hit it with a little bit of paint. We're gonna use this Rust-Oleum 2X paint primer, satin black. So I like this stuff. It's pretty good. It does okay. Yeah. See, when you get that sizzling effect, that's how you know it's really baking on there good. Easy money. Go. Okay. So nice. That's really good. I really like that. Well, we have come to the point. Where it's not that I was dreading this part. And it's not putting the deck boards back on. We're almost there. But that's why it's called maintenance, not play or fun or hanging out with your buddies drinking beer. It's time to grease the trailer bearing. To check and grease all the bearings. I've already looked. I pulled one cap off earlier, and I do not have the greasable hubs. So that means we are going to pull the tires off and check the play in each bearing and pack some more grease in there, and we got to do it. We're going to be using the trailer a bunch, and I would rather take a couple minutes now and a couple dollars worth of grease and check everything versus having a failure in the near future. Once you got the tire off, you pull the little dust cap off. All right, just pop it off with a hammer. And this is what you're going to get. You're going to have a big castle nut and a cotter pin that goes through it. So let's get that pulled off right quick, and we'll be able to pull the hub off and see how everything looks. So what you'll have once you get it apart, you'll have this castle nut. You have this big old Mondo washer right there. And then you'll have your bearing. Your bearing will be like this, right? So it's a cone-shaped bearing. So when they get smushed together, there's one on the other side that looks like that too. So when they get smushed together, that's what the actual hub rides on. So what you want to do is you just kind of want to look for, make sure there's no. You just want to make sure that it looks like there's no crazy wearing or rust or pitted parts. I'm not sure what kind of grease this is because it's like a brownish red. I've never seen that before. Hopefully that's not dirt, but I don't think it is. We're going to get this wiped down with some rags and get this hub pulled off, and I'll show you some more. Okay, there we go. You got the hub. Oh, you got the hub pulled off. Now we're going to that. Ooh, yeah. So good. Nice. one of the things you really need to look for, you should get it wiped off. You want to make sure that it still looks like a nice, clean, machined surface, right? Everything still looks good. There's no giant pits or anything, so I think we're in good shape. So let's look at this hub right quick. All right, so if you were doing like a real service, like I'm just kind of doing maintenance, but if you were replacing this bearing, you would have to knock this dust seal out. But I don't know what this is going to be. So, and it's been working. I'm not seeing any obvious signs of like crazy wear. So I'm just going to squirt a bunch of new grease in there and put it back on, repack this bearing, and shove it all back together. And as you can see, trailer brakes have not been used for a long time. That's one of the things we got to hook up later. Probably not in this video, definitely in the next video though. Next videos though. So I'm going to get this all re-greased, and we'll put some fresh grease in there, and then we'll, you know, be done. And for grease, I'm just using like regular old black moly Valvoline. This is the Valvoline flavor, so get that spooged in there. We put our dust cap back on here, and we'll just have to do that 3 more times. It's already about 5:30 in the evening on this Saturday. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and start throwing these deck boards on. Start throwing these deck boards on, get them in place. But before that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through here and I'm gonna mark the center of every single, I'm gonna grind this off, grind these welds off. But I'm gonna mark the center of every cross support so that I know which ones I can drill into, or where I can drill into. So let's get everything marked, and then I'll start throwing boards on. All right, it's almost time to start throwing boards on. But one of the most important things you got to do whenever you are doing this is you got to look at the crown of the board. So you see the rings, how they're like this. Whichever way they're arched is how it's going to cup. So if you put it this way, which I don't know which way this one was, but what will happen, and this will make your trailer deck get destroyed way fast, is that when it cups, it will actually hold water here in the middle. So no matter how much you treat it or you use treated lumber or anything, the key to making your trailer deck last a long time, like look at which way the crown is going, because that is going to be super important. Because eventually, if you have a couple screws in here, it will hold it down and will keep it from arching and stuff. But if you do it the other way, you're only making more problems for yourself. But now let's start throwing boards on. Get this trash out of my face. Okay, a little bit of an issue. I knew this was going to happen, but what you see here is the the 2x6 is really 5.5 inches, right? We've only got 5 inches down here. So what we're gonna try and do is we're gonna try and muscle the 2x6 in to place, and because what happens is a lot of these boards, if they're dog-legged or bowed or whatever, they're gonna create gaps, which is gonna create, you know, a tight fit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and muscle it in. So we'll see how that works. Okay, that was actually a lot easier than I expected it to be. And if you had any more questions on how they should be crowned, this is kind of what it should look like, right? So this arch needs to be pointing up. Some of them are a little interesting, right? So like this one is kind of arching two different ways, but I just took the one that was arched the most and pointed it up. So if you had any more questions, that's what it should look like to make your trailer deck last much longer. All right, so remember we got our marks here with the silver streak. Next, what I'm going to do is go ahead and pop some chalk lines. Even though I'm only going to probably use every other brace, I went ahead and marked every one, because in the next video we're going to be installing some E-track, and I'm going to want to make sure that like I drill my my bolts all the way through the angle iron that's underneath. So that's why I marked every one, because next video we're doing some more upgrades. But for now, let's figure out which ones we're going to use, and then show you what screws I bought. All right, so here's my thought. Here at the front, where you've only got a couple inches between the angle and where it's captured, really don't need a screw right there. So we're going to start on this one, and I think we're going to go every other. So we're going to go this one here in the middle, this one that's basically right in the middle of the tandem axles, and here this one at the back. We'll probably also put at least one screw at the very end of the boards. We're going to do 2 screws in each one, so that's 8 screws holding each board down. Considering there's only like 6 screws holding all the boards on earlier, I think that's probably not bad. Let me show you what I got from Amazon though. These were the recommended screws from Amazon. All right, so these are advertised as a 2.5 inch screw. The head down to about 1 7/8 of threads, and then you've got the self-tapping part. So for 1.5 inch board going into a piece of, I don't know, 1/8 inch or whatever thick, however thick angle iron, these will be perfect. All you want to make sure on your threads, you have enough to go through the board and have thread engagement in whatever you're drilling through. Start drilling. These are also a Torx. This is a T25 bit. Usually they just include the cutoff type, but this time they included the one that goes into the impact. So let's start getting these. Start getting these drilled in, and I'll give you some thoughts on what I think of these. What I think of these screws. I'm not really sure what's going on with these screws. They are not very good, I don't think. They are breaking. The tips are breaking on almost every other one. So we're going to move to a two tool system. I'm going to get a small drill bit, pre-drill some holes with the drill, and then I'm going to try and hammer them home with the impact. See if that helps. Frustrating. probably doesn't look like it on camera, but it is almost sunset. Sun's going down. It's a beautiful sunset here in Oklahoma. And I've got the deck done, the top done, but I still got to do the dovetail. So I'm going to go cut some boards, fit those in there, get those tacked in place, and then next time you see me, it'll be nice and sunny again, hopefully, and we'll finish this out and do some final thoughts on replacing a trailer deck. All right, one more quick talk for the night. It's sun is set. I am done for the night. I got to pick up some tools, but I got the dovetail section put in. You notice it's a little wonky, right? I see it, so I know you see it, because it's not right. But they'll be fine. They're gonna get covered up with metal. The metal's gonna disperse the weight. And anyways, so I'm gonna finish cleaning up my tools, and I will see you in a couple seconds. Just getting pulled into the land so we can start oiling the deck of this trailer. You know, spend some good money on these boards. I want them to last. Let me show you what we're doing right quick. So the task is pretty simple. We're gonna take our old motor oil, dump it out on the trailer, and use this and then use this mop I got from the dollar store, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, whichever one it was. It was Dollar General. And does that count as one of our hardware store stops? Does that count against me? I don't know. But basically, dump this out, mop it around. Make sure you cover everything. I think you got it by now. Let me show you. Back here in the garage, and it's been about 3 days since we oiled the trailer. While it was drying, my son and I went ahead and replaced ball joints and an axle shaft on his Honda. So that was fun. So we're at the end of the maintenance section of this video. We have replaced the rotten wood, sealed it, repacked the bearings, rewired the trailer, added a new trailer jack. So I think so far this trailer is perfectly usable at this point. Like if that's all you need to do to get your trailer back up to operating condition, this has been a great guide, and let me know down in the comments what you've thought so far. So that's going to do it for this video, but come back next week and we're going to be adding some metal to the back part for the dovetail. We're going to be doing some E-track. We're going to be doing some D-rings we're going to weld on. We're going to add some stake pockets, and we're going to do some receiver tubes on the sides for even more expandability in the future. So I hope you found this video interesting, and do what you always do, everyone. Take care of one another. I will see you next time. Bye.